Over 37 million Americans have diabetes, and another 96 million are pre-diabetic right now. Most of them don't know it yet. In my 25 years as a cardiothoracic surgeon, I've watched blood sugar destroy more than just pancreases. It destroys hearts. It destroys kidneys. It destroys the nerves in your feet until you can't feel the floor beneath you. And here's what disturbs me most. The patients I've seen suffer the worst outcomes. They felt completely fine the year before. Normal energy, normal appetite, no obvious symptoms. But their blood sugar was quietly doing damage every single morning before they even ate breakfast. What I'm about to show you changes that. Here's what changes in your body after 60 that most doctors don't take enough time to explain. Your muscle mass drops, and muscle is your body's primary glucose disposal system. Less muscle means less ability to clear sugar from your blood. At the same time, your pancreas becomes less efficient. It produces insulin more slowly, and your cells, after decades of exposure, start ignoring insulin's signal entirely. This is called insulin resistance, and it gets worse every year you don't address it. But here's what makes this especially dangerous after 60. I'll explain that in just a moment. The ingredient I'm going to tell you about has been sitting in research journals for over a decade. It is not a drug. It is not a supplement manufactured in a lab. It is a seed, a small golden brown seed that has been used medicinally for thousands of years and has now been validated by modern clinical science. It's called Fenugreek. You may know it as methi if you come from a South Asian background, but most of my American patients have never heard of it in this context. Here's where it gets serious. A study published in the Journal of Diabetes and Metabolic Disorders found that daily fenugreek supplementation produced a 25% reduction in fasting blood glucose in type 2 diabetic patients. That is not a trivial number. That is a clinically meaningful shift. So how does it work? Fenugreek seeds contain a soluble fiber called galactomannan. When this fiber reaches your small intestine, it forms a thick gel-like barrier. That barrier physically slows how fast glucose enters your bloodstream after a meal. But it does something else too. Research indicates it also stimulates your pancreas to release insulin more effectively. 2 mechanisms. 1 teaspoon before breakfast. Stay with me. This next part changes everything. Now let me tell you what I've actually observed, not just in studies, in patients, because the timeline matters, and nobody talks about the timeline. Week 1. The changes are subtle. You may not even notice them at first, but inside your body, the galactomannan fiber is already slowing glucose absorption at every meal. Your post-meal blood sugar spikes, the ones that silently damage your blood vessels, begin to flatten. Some patients report feeling less foggy after breakfast, less heavy, a little more even in their energy through the morning. Not dramatic, but real. Week 2. This is where I've seen patients genuinely surprised. Fasting blood sugar readings, the number you check first thing in the morning before eating, begin to show a measurable difference. Patients who were consistently waking up to readings of 130, 140, even higher, start seeing numbers they haven't seen in years. I've had patients come back to me and say, "I thought my meter was broken." It wasn't broken. Their body was finally getting the support it needed to regulate overnight glucose production in the liver. This is the part most doctors skip entirely. And if you are currently taking diabetes medication, what I'm about to tell you next is critical. Before you go out and start using Fenugreek tomorrow morning, I need to be very direct with you about something. If you are currently on insulin or on medications like metformin, glipizide, or any other blood sugar lowering drug, you cannot simply add Fenugreek without telling your doctor first. Here is why. Fenugreek actively lowers blood sugar. That is precisely why it works. But if it is working alongside your medication, both pulling your glucose down at the same time, you can drop too low. Hypoglycemia, dangerously low blood sugar, can cause confusion, fainting, and in severe cases, it becomes a cardiac emergency. I have seen this happen. It is entirely preventable, but only if you communicate with your physician before making this change. This is not me being overly cautious. This is clinical reality. Now, for those of you who are pre-diabetic or managing blood sugar through diet alone, the risk profile is very different, and the opportunity is significant. I want to ask you something directly. Is your fasting blood sugar above 100? Comment yes or no below. Your answer matters more than you may realize right now, because what I'm about to show you in the next section, the exact preparation method, only works if you avoid two very specific mistakes. Most people make at least one of them. Let me give you the exact protocol used in the clinical research, not a general guideline, the specific preparation that produced measurable results. Take 1 teaspoon of fenugreek powder, approximately 5 to 10 grams. Stir it into 8 ounces of warm water, not hot, not cold, warm. Drink it 20 to 30 minutes before your first meal of the day. That timing is not optional. It is the entire mechanism. The galactomannan fiber needs to be in your small intestine before glucose from your breakfast arrives. If you take it with food or after eating, you lose the majority of the buffering effect. That is mistake number 1, wrong timing. Mistake number 2 is using whole fenugreek seeds instead of powder. Whole seeds pass through your digestive system largely intact. The fiber is not fully released. The effect is significantly weaker. Always use ground powder for this specific purpose. Now here's a bonus that the research also supports. Add 1/4 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon to the same warm water. Ceylon cinnamon, not cassia cinnamon, which is the common grocery store variety, has been shown in studies to improve insulin sensitivity independently. Combined with fenugreek, the two compounds work through complementary pathways. One addresses absorption, the other addresses cellular response. Together, they create a compounding effect your morning routine has likely never had before. Let me tell you about a patient I'll call Margaret. 71 years old, retired school teacher, came to me after her primary care physician flagged her fasting blood sugar at 118. Pre-diabetic range. Her doctor told her to watch her diet and scheduled a follow-up in 3 months. She left that appointment with a pamphlet and no real plan. When I saw her, she was exhausted, not just physically. She was exhausted from worrying. She told me she woke up every morning feeling like her body was working against her. She had stopped walking her dog because her feet felt strange, tingly, unreliable. She was frightened, and she was right to be concerned. We discussed fenugreek as part of a broader morning protocol. She was not on medication. Her situation allowed us to try nutritional intervention first. 6 weeks later, she came back. Fasting blood sugar, 94. Her words to me were simple. She said, "I finally feel like I'm doing something that's actually working." That is what this is about, not a miracle, not a cure. A measurable, science-backed shift that gives your body a fighting chance every single morning. Does this sound familiar to you? Because Margaret's story is not unusual. I hear versions of it every week. Here is exactly what to do starting tomorrow morning. Step 1. Purchase fenugreek powder from a health food store or reputable online retailer. Confirm it is ground powder, not whole seeds. Step 2. Every morning, 20 to 30 minutes before breakfast, stir 1 teaspoon into 8 ounces of warm water. Add 1/4 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon if available. Step 3. Track your fasting blood sugar daily. Write the numbers down. Give it 2 full weeks before you evaluate results. That is it. 3 steps. 1 teaspoon. Every morning. Don't wait for your next blood test to find out it's worse. If this video gave you something your last doctor's appointment didn't, subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Comment below. What is your fasting blood sugar number this morning? Medical disclaimer: this video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. Always consult your physician before making any changes to your diet, supplement routine, or diabetes management plan.